Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm back with a book recommends video. I haven't done one of these for quite a long time, and you all know I love books and I like chatting to people about books that I've read and their opinions and thoughts on ones that I've read and really enjoyed, or vice versa. So I've done a couple last year, just generic grouped together books that I've enjoyed, but now I'm going to try and do them in like categories. So for example, today I'm going to be doing chick lit, and then in a couple of weeks time or however long I will then do sort of like YA dystopian sort of books I've enjoyed, or whatever category I decide to make it, if that makes sense, as opposed to just having everything mixed in together. So I've got a pile of books. I haven't got that many because I want to keep it like short and simple. I figured if I sat down and I gave you 20 books that I recommend, you probably are going to be a bit daunted by that. So I thought, how many have I got? I've got 6. So 6 books, recommend the author, blah blah blah, and then just see where we go. So little backstory about chick lit. I never used to read chick lit. I used to read like young adult books, whether it had romance in it or it was a dystopian or a fantasy or a contemporary. That's just what I used to read. And then a viewer of mine who I still speak to this day, called Kelly, she commented on one of my videos. I think it was my book recommends video, and she said to me, check out an author called Carol Matthews. Like, she absolutely loves her, she's read all of her books, blah blah blah. The next day I think I went to a charity shop and I managed to find 3 or 4 Carol Matthews. I sent a picture to her on Instagram. I was like, look what I found. And then from then on, my love of charity shop book hunting, reading chick lit, and opening my eyes to so many different new authors came from that one comment. So Kelly, if you're watching, I'm sure you are, thanks. I know it sounds really weird, but it just opened my eyes and completely was a game changer for me and my reading and just everything. So the author she recommended was Carol Matthews, like I said. I am going to recommend 3 of her books to you today. I've got all of her publications bar one, which I think is maybe like 20 odd. I've got them above me. I'll try and show you this. So this one here is my Carol Matthews shelf. I'm a massive fan. I'd probably say she's one of my favourite authors, and I get why she's so raved about. I was a little bit hesitant to get into her stories because from reading teenage stuff to then reading about like late 30s, 40s like main characters, I was really hesitant and I didn't know whether I'd really enjoy it, but I loved all of her books that I've read so far. So I've got 3 to recommend. I also apologise about the lighting. I can't help that it's winter and I don't have any fancy lighting, so it's a bit off. First book I read of Carol Matthews is this one, and this is Cake Shop in the Garden. It's a beautiful cover, and this was just great. I recommended it to every single person on my book club and they all absolutely loved it. There is also a second book. Whether there'll be a third, I don't know. There is definitely potential to be a third. Anyway, about this book. So this is about a woman who's in her early 40s, I think, and she is called Faye. She lives with her mum in like her childhood home, and she runs a cafe from her kitchen and garden, hence the name Cake Shop in the Garden. She also has a narrow boat at the end of her garden, so her garden is like backs onto a river and there's a narrow boat, and she also sells stuff on there. She has been in her relationship for, I want to say like 10 years, I can't remember exactly, and life is just ticking along fine. She then meets this guy called Danny Wilde, who also has a narrow boat, and he just pulls up, does a little bit of work like for a couple of weeks, and then he jets off and goes somewhere else. She meets him, she then questions everything that she's ever known. She doesn't know whether she's happy doing what she's doing, whether she wants to do what Danny Wilde is doing. She doesn't know if she feels stuck caring for her mum, and whether the cafe is something that she really wants to do. So that is the premise of the book. It took me about 100 pages to get in, and then you just really relate to it and fall head over heels for the characters in here. There's an elderly pensioner in here called Stan, which is so sweet. There's a character in here that's probably one of my most favourite characters I've ever read, called Leah. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It's spelled L-I-J-A. Lydia? I don't know. She's foreign, and she's so straight to the point and so sarcastic, but she's great and I bloody loved her. So yes, if you're gonna go and read a chick lit, pick this one up first. It's so good. My other two Carol Matthews, I'm going to recommend the Christmas one next, and that is Calling Mrs. Christmas. Again, we've got an absolute beautiful cover. I mean, oh, one of my favourite covers by her. But I'll quickly read the blurb of the book and then I'll explain it a little bit more. Cassie Smith has been out of work for a while, but she has an idea. Drawing on her love of Christmas, she begins to charge for small things such as wrapping presents, writing cards, tree decorating. She's soon in huge demand as Cassie's business Calling Mrs. Christmas is born. Arthur Randall wants to make Christmas special for his children, so he enlists Cassie's help, and his lavish requests start taking up all of her time. Thank goodness she can rely on her loving partner Jim to handle the rest of her clients. Millionaire Carter asks Cassie to join his family on a trip to Lapland. She knows she shouldn't go. Suddenly Cassie finds herself facing a heartbreaking choice that could change her life forever. This book gives me all the feels. So, like I said, it's about a girl called Cassie. I say girl, woman. And she, I think she was made redundant, I can't remember, but she loves Christmas and she starts up her own like little Christmas business, like it said on the blurb. Christmas tree like decorating and organising parties and writing Christmas cards and wrapping presents, like everything I would want to do, she does it. And she's got her partner Jim to help her out. Jim works as a I can't remember what it's called, but he works like in a prison. He's a police officer, but he works in a prison with sort of lads that have got into trouble, but they're young lads. So that's a really cool aspect of the book that I wasn't expecting at all, and it was really good to see like a different, I don't know, like a different career other than like, oh, I work in a cafe. Like, it was just different. I'm not bashing the other book at all, I'm just saying it was refreshing to read. And then you've got the millionaire Carter, who is going through a divorce, and then Cassie comes up into his life and helps him organise Christmas because he hasn't got his wife's support and all of that. And it's just a tale about the three of them and what happens, and it's so good. I read this in a couple of days and I absolutely loved it, albeit it is a Christmas book, but it basically feels like Christmas now. It's -1, so go pick it up. Loved it so much. My final Carol Matthews book to recommend is A Cottage by the Sea, so a summary book if you want to go by the title. Grace has always been best of friends with Ella and Flick. The late night chats, the shared heartaches, the good times have created a bond that has stood for the test of time. When Ella invites them to stay for a week in her cottage in South Wales, Grace jumps at the chance to see her old friends. She also hopes the change of scenery will help her reconnect with her distant husband. Then Flick arrives. Lovable, bubbly, incorrigible Flick, accompanied by handsome and charming Noah. This is going to be 1 week that will change all of their lives forever. So, this, like I said, is about, it's like a couple's get together for a week's holiday in the cottage that belongs to Ella. So Grace is married to her husband Harry. Ella has got a partner called Art, and Flick is sort of like the one that gets around quite a lot, and she's always got a new guy coming in and out, and this time it's Noah. So the story is about all of them getting together after some time apart, having a catch up, and how things have changed whilst they've grown up and the problems that they're going through. Grace starts to really notice Noah, her best friend's partner or boyfriend, someone that she's seeing. It's nothing too serious. She starts to take an interest in him because her husband's not giving her the attention that she wants and what she needs. Nice light read. It's quite a big book. I really enjoyed it. Lots of twists and turns. Like a nice light easy breezy read. You can put it down, pick it up. And one thing I will say about all of Carol Matthews' books that I absolutely love is at the end of each chapter you want to continue to read, whether there's like a massive shocking plot twist, or you just want to know what the end of the conversation was, like the books always make you want to read more, which is why I get through them so fast, and that's why she's such a great author. So yes, that one is Cottage by the Sea. Again, what a beautiful cover. So a lot of the Carol Matthews ones I've just shown you are standalone, apart from Cake Shop in the Garden, like I said. This one is a massive series. It's 7 books in total, and this is by Lindsay Kelk, and it's called I Heart New York. I read this probably at a really good time in my life, which sounds really cringe. I read this shortly after, oh, I'm just getting emotional thinking about it. I read this shortly after Uncle Damien died, and I needed something to take my mind off of all the shit that was going on, and I just needed that book that could just give me a bit of a hug, I guess, and just take my mind elsewhere. And that's why I bloody love reading, because it did that. Going to bed after that, what happened, was very hard for me, and I kept having really horrible graphic thoughts, which I can imagine is to be expected because I'd never really gone through it before. So when I had this book, going to bed wasn't a scary thought for me, and it was nice to think I can go to sleep thinking about this book. This has suddenly got really deep. Let's talk about this book and not about death. So the blurb says, fleeing her cheating boyfriend and clutching a little more than a crumpled bridesmaid's dress, a pair of Louboutins and her passport, Angela jumps on a plane, destination NYC. Holed up in a cute hotel room, Angela gets a New York makeover from her new best friend, Jenny, and a whirlwind tour of the city that never sleeps. Before she knows it, Angela is dating 2 sexy guys, and the best of all, she gets to write about it in her new blog. It's one thing telling readers about your romantic dilemmas, and it's another thing figuring them out for yourself. Angela has fallen head over heels for the Big Apple, but does she heart New York more than home? So that is the premise of the story. Ironic because it's the blurb of the book. So it's about Angela. Not a massive fan on the name. I think it's a little bit dated. Apologies if anyone out there that's watching is called Angela. Not a massive fan. So she's a bridesmaid at a wedding, and she ends up catching her best friend sleeping with her partner, who she's been with for 10 years. And she's like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. I'm going to New York. So she books a one-way ticket to New York, and off she goes. She stays in a hotel room and she lives there, and it's about the story of how she gets on her feet and how to overcome from being in this serious relationship for 10 years to then be like, holy shit, I'm on my own, I'm in New York, like what am I doing, sort of thing. And it's about her journey and how she manages to find her personality again, and it's about shopping and going on dates for the first time for God knows how many years, and it's just great. You fall in love with the character straight away. You want to know what happens. The love interests are great. They're completely different, but also so great. Like it mentioned at the back, is she's got a new friend called Jenny, who it just helps her through and tells her where to go and what to do and all of that sort of thing. Like I said, it's a massive series. I have actually got them up here. So you've got New York, Hollywood, Paris, London, and then you've got Vegas, Christmas and Forever. Love it. I've only read the first and the second so far. I cannot wait to read some more, but I'm also holding off reading them because it's a series I love so much. I'd like to forget it and read it all over again. So I'm going to continue to read them this year. I just don't want to get through them too quickly. Next is my most recent read, and I literally just finished this a couple of days ago, and this is by Lucy Diamond. Now this is my first ever Lucy Diamond that I've read. I own a couple just here. I was a little bit stuck and I didn't know what to read, and I messaged my girls on book club and I was like, what should I read, sort of thing, like I don't know what to read, I've got so many choices, help. One of the girls on there had just finished this and she was like, you should read this, this was great. Luckily I had it on my shelf. And I did. So, the back of the book. Is Mr. Jones really Mr. Right? Meet the women who love 3 very different brothers. Izzy is determined to escape her troubled past with a new start by the sea, but flirtatious Charlie Jones is causing complications. Alicia has been happily married to loyal Hugh for years, but secretly craves excitement. Maybe it's time to spice things up. Emma's relationship with David was once fun and romantic, but trying for a baby has taken its toll. Then temptation comes along. The future of the family's B&B becomes uncertain. Izzy, Alicia and Emma are thrown together unexpectedly. It seems that keeping up with the Joneses is harder than anyone thought. So, I think the blurbs on Lucy Diamond books, from experience of this one, scares me a little bit, because it sounds like there's quite a lot going on, which there is, and that daunted me, and that's why I didn't pick it up for so long. I'm so glad that my friend on book club read it, because I then went ahead and read it myself. About 6 or 7 chapters to get in, because there's quite a lot of characters. So you've got the 3 partners, you've got the 3 brothers, and then you've got the parents that own the B&B. It's basically what it's about. The parents have been running this B&B since the get-go, since having their sons, and they just can't continue to do it anymore. They're getting old, they want to retire, so they basically put it to the Jones brothers. Do you want it? If not, we'll sell it. And it's about the story of how the women feel about it. So it's from the women's perspective. And it's about whether each brother wants to do it, or whether they're happy in their lives and they think, well, it's my family home, like I'd like to take it on, but I've also got children and commitments and I'm happy in my place of work. So that's what it's about. There are twists and turns throughout it. There's obviously love within it. There's obviously issues with infertility, which I really liked. I've never really read that in a book before, so I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So I really like the aspect of like a family run B&B. I think it sounds really sweet, and how they're all trying to pull in together for their parents and their family home. So that probably doesn't give it enough justice, because there's different storylines going on. It's hard to give like, this is what happens, because there are so many different aspects that go on. But there's children in it as well, and then you've got some psycho people in it as well. Just read it. So this, hi.
Yeah.
You just had your lunch, didn't you?
Mm.
This was a Zoella book club book, I want to say a couple of years ago, and since then I have read a couple more books by Page Toon. Again, I own all of them bar one, just here on my shelf. But this one was the first one I read, and what a good book it was. Yeah, we've already shown that one. Herb says, Phoebe is caught between a rock and a hard place. Settle down and get married, or return to the French Alps to pursue her passion. Eliza in love with someone who is no longer hers. In fact, he probably never was. And her dream of becoming a successful musician seems to be vanishing before her eyes. Rose is out of a job and out of a boyfriend. To make matters worse, she's been forced to move back in with her mother. But these very different girls have one thing in common: Angus, the one they fell in love with. So it's about these 3 triplets, which I really liked. Again, I never read about triplets. I want to say they're in their late 20s, and it's about their lives. So it's all told from each girl's perspective. Again, so very like me and Mr. Jones. Did you just trump?
No.
So very much like me and Mr. Jones. Again, this is told from 3 different perspectives, which is again why I didn't pick it up for such a long time, because I thought I'd really struggle getting into it, but I didn't. So Phoebe is actually in a relationship with Angus. It feels really weird saying Phoebe, because that's her name and I'd never call her that. So yeah, she's in a relationship with Angus, and it turns out that both of her triplet sisters also love him as well. And it's the dynamic of how each girl goes through their feelings and what to do and what to say. But there's guilt there because they have feelings for their sister's boyfriend, and that's not right. And it's all about how they go about it, how they go and pursue their careers. Different people come in and out. Their mum is selling their family home, so it's also going through the emotions of that as well. It made me laugh, it made me cry, I was shocked. Didn't see stuff happen, I was shocked when things did happen. It's a really deep book, but it's a great book at the same time. So that wraps up my chick lit recommendations. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Are you doing a poo?
No.
That's what she thinks about reading. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've read any of these, if you've read anything similar. Why are you picking your ears? I'll also quickly say that you can get books. I always talk about this and I don't get paid for it. I don't work with them or anything. I'm just doing this off the kindness of my own back. If you like the idea of these books, have a look on musicmagpie.com. You can get books, 2 books for £2.99, so buy one get one free with free postage. They are second hand, but a lot of my books are from there. My Carol Matthews ones are from Music Magpie. If you can't find them on charity shops or in charity shops, it's such a great service. A lot of my friends get their books on there. Definitely check them out. They've got a massive selection of books. Whether you like the ones that I've spoken about or you want to have a look at some other ones, have a look on there. You can get some really, really good deals on there. I will see you all in my next video.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You are such a clever sausage.